Right. What is CPD? So, welcome back. What is continuing professional development? Essentially, every single one of these words within the acronym stands for something. So, the continuing bit essentially means that you will, as long as you remain on the register, so throughout your whole career, you are going to be undertaking learning. So, it's lifelong, it's continuous learning, it's an ongoing process. And that this ongoing process is relevant regardless of your age and also regardless of the stage of your career. So you could be the chief pharmacist in a hospital, really, really senior. You could be a pharmacy, a manager within a community pharmacy. You still have to undertake CPD just like anyone else. Okay, and this is for the length of your career, so it's continuing. The professional bit, so the professional bit of CPD, essentially so your CPD entries are very much focused on your professional role. So it's very personal to you and it's very individual based on your competencies at work. So, for example, I work in frailty. I'm the frailty pharmacist in the hospital. So it would not make sense for me to do a CPD entry on cancer care, for example. That makes no sense because it's not related to my role. It might be related to a cancer pharmacist role, but it's not relevant to me. Okay. In the same way, you guys, when you write up your CPDs, you should not be writing about CPDs for I don't know, any other hobbies or extracurricular stuff that you do, any sports that you do. It's not related. Everything that you write up, all the CPDs that you write up have to be related to your professional role. So as students, you have to think, right, if I'm writing this CPD up, any learning that I say that I have done, I need to show how this learning is going to benefit me when I go on a placement as an undergrad, when I'm a pre-registration pharmacist, and when I'm a qualified pharmacist. Okay, so it really has to be relevant to your role, but also it's all about development. So it's all about improving your personal skills and all with the aim of improving patient care, but also thinking about your career progression. So I know for me, for example, to carry on progressing within my career, I need to do very certain and specific things. Okay, so I could write a CPD because I have identified gaps in my knowledge that I need to improve on to improve patient care, but also for my own personal career progression. I will identify gaps and write a CPD on it. Okay. So the development bit is all about improving your personal skills, and that's what each of those three bits stands for. Continuing, because it's lifelong; professional, because it's relevant to your specific role; and development, it's all about improvement. So why does the GPHC review CPD records? Essentially, we've sort of answered this earlier, but it's a way to maintain the skills and the knowledge of pharmacists and make sure that pharmacists and pharmacy technicians are keeping all these skills up to date, but also the skills that they are keeping up to date are very much relevant to their roles and responsibilities. Um, it's really important that also the CPD have a review mechanism to monitor compliance with the declaration each pharmacist makes when they renew the registration. So, for example, when we renew our registration every single year to maintain on that register, we have to submit a declaration to say that we are keeping our knowledge up to date. But the GPHC almost needs proof of it. It needs proof that we are complying with that declaration, as opposed to us just ticking a box and saying, yes, we're maintaining our knowledge. It's really important for them to see that we are actively doing that. So, again, it's a way of making sure and monitoring that we are actively keeping our knowledge and our skills up to date. And this is very much why the GPHC wants to see our CPD records and our other records, the reflective accounts and the peer reviews. It's really important to complete CPD because not only right now for you guys it's essential for your PADS portfolio, but also it will really help you focus, for example, on your summer placements. So you might know that you are going off on a summer placement this year, and you might be thinking, oh, I know that in spring term I am due to start the dispensing classes in pharmacy. I need to brush up on my understanding of controlled drugs or the different types of prescriptions. So I'm gonna try to learn that when I'm on my summer placement. Okay. So it's really important to almost give you focus for your summer placements, but also it's mandatory when you become a qualified pharmacist. Um, it's really helpful because yes, it enhances your career progression, but it also gives really good evidence when applying for jobs. So a lot of students that have graduated from here and start applying for jobs actually go to a job with all their complete CPDs. And in all honesty, when I'm interviewing someone and they come to a job interview with a portfolio that has entries of really good quality, actually for me, that is very reassuring because it shows that this particular individual not only talks the talk in the interview, but also they are showing that they are keeping their knowledge and skills up to date. They're keen to learn and keen to develop. It will also improve your performance in your job through reflection. And for you guys, it will improve your understanding of various things whilst you're an undergrad, and also improve your ability and confidence to respond positively to feedback and to change. So quite often, for example, with the with when someone feeds something back to you, or when someone uh, says something to you that might be constructive, quite often a lot of people will get defensive over it. But actually, if you reflect over what has been fed back to you, and through that feedback, you identify a gap in your knowledge or your skills, you can use that feedback really positively and constructively to try to improve yourself in whatever has been fed back to you. So doing CPD really improves your ability to reflect on feedback that other people might give to you. Like I sort of hinted earlier, for employers, it's really important for employers to recruit staff that are committed to actually constantly developing themselves and developing their skills and wanting to learn. And in terms of the wider NHS, needless to say, keeping yourselves up to date with what's going on will always improve patient care and also help the NHS deliver health outcomes and healthcare priorities. So, for example, if you have a patient coming in that needs a certain treatment in a hospital and you don't know what that treatment is, it's really important for you to go off and learn about it. Because if you don't learn about it, you're not going to be giving that patient the best possible care. And that's the same for community pharmacists as well. It's really important to maintain your knowledge so that when patients come into your community pharmacy, you know how to help them in the best possible way. The reason why we're asking you to start this now, you might be thinking, oh, I'm in first year, I'm really far away from graduating. Actually, it's really important to start now because it really gets you ahead of the game. And that's why from first year up until the point that you hand in your PADS portfolio towards the end of third year, every single year we will ask you to do a certain number of CPDs. Okay, because as soon as you graduate, it's compulsory. And it's really important that for you to maintain your competence and your skills and also stay on the register, that you know what you're doing. Right, going on to CPD in a little bit more detail. I feel like I've said CPD a lot. I feel like I've already told you that you need planned and unplanned CPDs, but we really need to go into what they are. So I sort of touched on it earlier, but a planned CPD is essentially when you have an idea of what you want to learn. Okay, so you have an idea of what you want to learn, and you have to make sure that whatever you're choosing in terms of what you want to learn is very much relevant to practice, and you have an awareness on how this learning will affect the people using your service. When you undertake a planned CPD, essentially you are listing multiple activities that you have done in order to achieve what you initially set out to learn. Okay, so that could be having a conversation with a colleague and reading a journal and going to a conference and having a look at the BNF, etc. etc. So, multiple activities to try to achieve what you initially set out to learn. Also, it's really important that you show how whatever you have set out to learn has benefited the people using your service. This is all I'm going to talk about when it comes to planned CPDs, because in second year, this is when we will be asking you to write planned CPD. So this year, we are purely focusing on unplanned CPDs, but you need to have an idea of what a planned CPD is in order to distinguish it between an unplanned CPD. But remember, in second year, that this is when we are going to be asking you to do planned CPDs. Now, this is what we are going to be asking of you in first year. So remember, in first year, you have to do a total of 6 unplanned CPDs. I think this will be a good point to pause just for a second, because if you look on Blackboard, within the same folder that you have accessed these slides, just underneath the slide set, I have uploaded a blank template of an unplanned CPD. So what I want you guys to do before I talk about this whole slide, I want you to have a look at the template, just so that you have an idea of what is being asked of you within that template, what you are expected to write up, so that hopefully when we come back to the slide in the next activity, you have a little bit of a context of what I am talking about. So remember that this is not the only place that you can find the template for the unplanned CPDs. All the templates are under your student development portfolio. Okay, so your templates for everything you're meant to complete for first year for your PAD portfolio is under that section. But for now, I've put the template in this folder, so please go and have a look and then come back.